Quinn to please say something.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here today and get the support of Councilmember Ines Dickens in my campaign and race for mayor. Ines is somebody who I've worked with for a long time, from even before she was on the City Council, fighting for small businesses in Harlem, fighting for women who had been incarcerated for when they were released, to make sure they got the support they needed to help them transition back to society and be able to take care of their families, fighting for resources for people with HIV and AIDS in her district in Harlem and across the city. And since Ines got elected to the City Council as a member of my leadership team, I've been so honored to get to work with her to bring more affordable housing to her district, to fight for the small businesses in her district, to work side by side with her to make sure more of the projects in this city include MWBE businesses, and also most recently to change the MWBE law to make sure we're creating more opportunities with every contract dollar in our city budget for minority and women-owned businesses across the city. Fighting to make sure cultural institutions in every part of the city, not just some parts of Manhattan, get recognized as part of the economic engine in this city. Working together, Ines is one of the leaders on our budget negotiating team to make sure we've kept every firehouse open in this city, and when we face the threats of real layoffs, to make sure layoffs of critical workers, administration for children's services, teachers, other education staff did not happen. The list of what I've been able to accomplish over the past almost 8 years in the City Council, none of that could have happened without Inez's support, leadership, and hard work. So I'm thrilled today to get this endorsement and stand with somebody who's been my partner in delivering for 8 years for middle-class New Yorkers and all of those families that are fighting so hard to get into the middle class. So Ines, thank you, and I look forward to doing more for your district and the whole city moving forward, and would be happy to take any questions.
So, to the councilwoman, I heard your statement that she has support you. That you mean you scratch my back, I scratch yours, and to her with the rest of the population?
You will scratch my back, I scratch yours. What this is about, without the cooperation of all council members working together, without the speaker having the ability to work with her members, because she is the leader of the City Council, then you don't get anything done. We cannot do anything on any level of government unless there is cooperation and trust within the body. And that's what we have here.
Yeah, Aaron?
You mentioned, a lot about the importance of loyalty. I'm wondering if you would expect the speaker to support you to become speaker, and also for the speaker what your feelings on that.
No, I'm not looking for her to, of course I would love to have her support, but I'm not looking for her to support me. She's got a fight on her hands, and she's got to see to it that she wins this race. I've got to fight right now. I'm not concentrating on speaking. I'm concentrating right now on a budget that we're working on. I'm concentrating on legislation that we have to do to protect our residents today. The speakership is not until next year. I have to worry about that as when we get to that point. Right now, I have a fight on my hands. We've got 51 members, or 50 members who are running, well, not all, 22, who are running for re-election, and then we've got a 21 open seats. So we've got a turnover. And so you have to concentrate and you have to prioritize, and that's what I'm doing now.
Other questions? Yes, guys.
To shift topics.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
To shift topics, the 9 class group put out a statement this morning saying, talking about your book, saying that you don't have a record of animal rights or supporting animals, saying that your history as a horseback rider doesn't jive with your history as a legislator. I was wondering if you could comment about that.
I'm not going to comment on any of the statements put out by New York class. I think we've seen a long record of them putting out misinformation, not reflecting my record or the facts clearly, so I just don't think any statement they've put out warrants an answer from me.
Yeah, we put out a statement this morning on the new future evaluation plan.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on whether you support or oppose it?
I think the plan that, first of all, let's just say I think it's critically important we now have a plan in place, right? Because we couldn't have New York City be the only place in the state and a few places in the country without an evaluation plan. So having a plan is a step forward, and I applaud the governor and the state education commissioner for moving us to this place we are in now, so we're not at risk of losing any more money. Obviously, we all have to analyze in much greater detail the specifics of the plan, but I think what we see in this plan for evaluation is a multi-faceted evaluation standard, an evaluation standard not just based on one input, not just based solely on standardized tested. That's what I've always been calling for, and I think that really seems like we've taken a step in the right direction.
Secretary, do you support or oppose?
We're still reviewing all the specifics of it, but the framework of it is absolutely something I support.
Oh, Speaker, you call Bill Thompson an environmentally racist. Is that what you being racist yourself?
Let me be very clear. I have never called Bill Thompson or anybody else environmental racist. What I said, and I stand by it, is that we have a history of a practice in the city of New York of putting all of the garbage-related uses in low-income communities of color. That needs to stop. And I'm not going to change my position in one community. I'm not going to go up to the Upper East Side and pander there for votes and say I'm changing my position because they boo when you go to events. Every community has to step forward. Every community has to be part of our solution to ending this historic practice of only making low-income communities of color part of the solution to our waste management.
Chris, do you think that Bill Thompson intentionally mischaracterized what you said to try to energize or rally or anger the minority communities in the city?
You know, I just want, and I know you asked the speaker, but I just wanted to just say something. I never heard him make that statement. So I can only speak, I never heard him make that statement. The Black, Latino, and Asian caucus strongly supports this motion. And why? Because Harlem, my community, Brooklyn, and Williamsburg, Councilmember Diana Rayner's district, Councilmember Maria Arroyo in the Bronx. Our districts have historically carried the weight of garbage disposal. All communities create garbage, and all of us need to participate in the disposal of it.
I never heard Bill Thompson say it either, which is why I'm basically asking, do you think he's intentionally misrepresenting what you said?
I'm not going to characterize, other people have to characterize what they said and why they said it. What I can tell you is, for years, since my first summer as speaker, when we passed the solid waste management plan, I have been saying the same thing for over 7 years, that we need to end the historic practice of only citing municipal garbage facilities in low-income communities of color. If we don't do that, and if we don't move forward with this plan, we won't utilize the river for garbage removal, we won't have borough self-sufficiency, and we will continue to have tragically high asthma rates in low-income communities of color. We need to stop that. Now, other people have to say what they said and why they said it, but I'm going to tell you this. As mayor, I'm going to say the same thing in every neighborhood. I'm going to go to the Upper East Side and say you have to take a garbage treatment facility just like Williamsburg and the South Bronx had to do for decades. And I'm going to go to synagogues. And even if they disagree with me, I'm not going to pander and change my position on circumcision. If you're going to be the mayor, you have to be willing to take care of the public health of every community. That means getting trucks off the road to reduce asthma. That means standing up for children in a public health capacity. This can't be about changing your position every time a community is upset. I'm not going to pander like that.
Last question.